Hello everyone, this is Keith with In the Gap Motivational. I just want to come to you to do another quick video, and I rarely put out two videos back to back on consecutive days, but I had an amazing experience yesterday afternoon, and I just want to share it with you guys. I had some dental work done yesterday, some minor dental work done, but they had to numb my mouth and use the suction and all that, and it left my mouth kind of dry. So after I was leaving the dentist appointment, I went right down the road to a service station to go in to get me a drink. And I got me a drink, come back out and sat in my car, and I was parked in the parking lot. And as I was drinking my drink, messing with my radio and all, getting ready to leave, I noticed this older gentleman walk in front of my car. And he, what appeared to be a homeless guy from first glance, was because he had on old clothes. He had one little plastic bag, looked like a shirt folded in it. He had on a hat, tennis shoes, and he had some cardboard stuck under his arm. So I sit there and I watched him for a second. And he went this little grassy area between the service station and the Sonic next door. And he took two pieces of cardboard and laid it on the ground, and he sat down on it Indian style. And he grabbed the other piece of cardboard and opened it up, and he was just sitting there smiling with this huge smile. And you could already see that he was been sweating because half his shirt was wet, because it was kind of warm yesterday. And so I watched him, and I read his sign, and his sign says, "I'm homeless, and anything you can give me will help, and God will bless you." So I got to thinking about his sign, and thinking about, what this man might have already been through and what I've been through in my life. And God moved upon me to help him, because God speaks to me in some crazy ways. But, I don't care when he speaks to me. I'm just glad that he does. And God was put in my spirit that that's Job sitting there. Because I started thinking about Job in the Bible, and how it said he sat in sackcloth and ashes when he had lost everything, and how he was at the lowest point of his life. So I started thinking, I wonder if Job was smiling like this guy was. So God had moved on me to help him, so I reached in my front pocket. I had a few dollars, and I pulled out a $5 bill, and I called him over to the car, and he come over, and I gave it to him. And he thanked me, and he went back and sat down and held his sign up some more. So I'm thinking, if this guy needs money, maybe he's going to go in there and buy a drink, buy him something to eat with it, get him something to snack on. But he didn't. He just sat back down, and he had $5 in his pocket. Then I started thinking, well, maybe he's done got money from other people, and he's got enough. I didn't know what the situation was. So I rolled my window down, and I called him back over to the car, and I said, "Sir, I just gave you a little bit of money. Why don't you go get you something to drink or something?" And he said, "Well, I can't, because you gave me $5, but if I get 35 more, I can go down the road and I can get me a room for the night for $40. And I hadn't had a room in a long time." And I said, "Yeah." And he started telling me he'd been homeless for a while. He's been down on his luck, and he didn't reek of alcohol or anything like that. I could just tell this guy had had a run of bad luck. So I began to witness to him about my life, and what God had did for me in my life, and how 3 years prior to us meeting yesterday, less than 3 years ago, I was in his same situation. I walked out of prison. I didn't have anywhere to go except my best friend my whole life. He let me go live with him, a kindness of somebody else's heart. He even brought me clothes. They weren't even my own. I walked out of prison in borrowed clothes with one ID, and that was my prison ID. They had lost all my ID. So I left with the bare minimum, nothing. And everything that I had at that point did not even belong to me. So I was in his same situation, just in a different circumstance. And I let him know that, and I let him know what God has done in my life since then, bringing a wonderful woman into my life and reuniting me with my kids and family, and giving me more kids, and how I got 11 grandkids, and wonderful job, and we got our own home, and it's just all that God had been doing for me, and how he would do it for him. I even was telling him about our motivational speaking company, In the Gap Motivational, how 3 years ago I was walking out of prison, didn't own anything, and now we have our own business as well. And I was encouraging him that God would do the same thing for him. He just have to look beyond his circumstance, and he has to understand that you're in this situation because you allow it in your life, because God did not plan this for you. He planned you to have a better life, and he gave you gifts and talents to use it. And I was explaining how in the worst time of my life, I found my gift for speaking. That's what God gave me to do in my life. And I use that now. And then I asked him his name, and he said his name was Joe. And I thought that was so weird because God had put in my spirit, his name was, that's Job sitting there. Now his name is Joe. And we're getting to talk, and he's learning about my life, and I'm learning about him. And he said, you know, I got a talent. He said, I can draw. I said, wow, if you can draw, man, why don't you use it? Because you drew on that cardboard you're sitting on, right? And he said, yeah, I drew those words. You know, I wrote the words on it. I said, but still, you got to write it to do it. That's a form of drawing. I said, so actually, you taking your God-given talent and you're sitting on it. You have to use this. This could be the key to you getting out of your situation. And he said, I never thought about it. He said, if I had some like copying paper and some pen, I could draw up cards then and try to sell them like I was telling him, sell your stuff. And I said, no, don't worry about that. God gave you a gift, make a way to use it. I said, where did you find that cardboard at? He said, over in that dumpster. I said, go get you some cardboard, break it down and start drawing on cardboard. Because if you're drawing and you're trying to help yourself and you show people you are trying to do for yourself, even though you don't have the best of materials, people will be more likely to help you when they see you trying to help yourself. And he said, man, that's a great idea. That is an awesome idea. He said, so I'm going to go get some cardboard and I'm going to do that. I said, man, listen, draw on the cardboard and let God do the rest. He'll bring the people into your life. So I watched him walk across the parking lot to this dumpster, and he grabbed out a big old cardboard box. And a guy was pumping gas at the end in an SUV, and I seen the guy stop it. So he was talking with the guy, and I went back to drinking my drink and looking at my phone. And then I felt a tap on my window, and it was Joe again. And he was smiling from ear to ear. And I was like, hey, Joe, did you get your cardboard? He said, no, I didn't. He said, the guy was asking me, what was I getting that cardboard box for? And he said, I told him that I was going to draw some stuff that I could try to sell it to get me a room tonight. I told him what all you had told me and how you told me I need to draw and use my talent to earn money, and then I can make my own way. And he said, the guy told him, said, hold on for a minute. The guy went in his SUV and brought out this huge art pad, brand new, still had the sticker on it, and gave him 5 ink pens. Now, what was the chance that he had just said he needed some art supplies, and this guy pumping gas, and I'd done convinced him to draw on cardboard if that's all you got. But this guy had exactly what he needed in that vehicle. And he come back, and I watched Joe, man. I sit there for a little while, and I watched him. And Joe sat back down, and he started drawing, sweat pouring off of him. So I got out, man, and we started talking. I started seeing what he was drawing, and he had folded the paper, and he was going to make little cards. And I told him, I said, just ask people to give you something for the card. That way they're more likely to help you when they see you doing this on your own to try to make your own way. He said, man, all I need is $35 more and I can get me a room. And I said, when you get your room, you can sit in the air conditioner and you can draw up some cards tonight to sell tomorrow. Then earn enough money then, get you a room again for a night, draw some more. And then before you know it, you'll be able to buy your own supplies, get your room, and who knows, God may make a way. You out of the hotel or the motel, and then you have your own place. That's how God works. That's how he did in my life. So he was just getting so excited because I took the time to kind of coach him through those things and share part of my life with him, and he was sharing part of his life with me. And people were stopping and they were saying, what are you drawing? And man, let me tell you, this guy can really draw. I was even telling him, go to a tattoo shop and see if you can draw for them. And I was giving him ideas, and he was soaking it in, and it was really dawning on him he could do this. And I started seeing hope come back in his life. And man, that was so great. And then I watched, man, as I was sitting there, people just started coming up. And I watched this guy talk with him. And while I was sitting there, he had enough to get his room for the night. Joe told me he was going across the street to get his room, and he was so happy, man. And I was happy for him. I was almost in tears because just seeing God work in front of me like that, it's a humbling experience. And No, I was so happy for him, and I could just tell there was a renewed sense of accomplishment come back in his life, and he really believed he could do this now, and that God was going to open these doors for him, and just being able to share Christ with him was greater than the $5 I contributed to him. But in the end, he got ready to leave, and he started to skip away. And I could tell he was leaving that parking lot a totally different person than when he came, just for people taking time to get to know him and show him some kindness and encouragement. Now I stopped him. I said, "Oh, Joe, don't forget your cardboard," because he left his other cardboard on the ground. He said, "Yeah, I'm going to need to throw that away because I won't need those signs anymore." And I said, "I tell you what, get another thing, and we're going to make you a new sign." So I sit there and I started coaching him through this, and I told him, "This is what you put on your sign now." I said, and he started writing it out. "I'm homeless, but I got a God-given talent to draw in art." Well, a God-given talent for art. "Would you like to buy one of my drawings?" And I said, "That's the sign you hold up every day when you already got these things drew up." And I said, "You just watch people how they'll say, 'You know what? I want to help this man because he's helping himself.'" And I said, "Watch how your life is going to take off." I said, "Man, your end will be better than your beginning. Your end will probably be better than mine, and my life is great." And just to see this hope come back in this man. And just, I started thinking as he was leaving, and I was so happy for Joe, how many times I've gave somebody a little bit of change and then walked off feeling good about myself, thinking I really done something for this person, when I didn't even take the time to even get to know them, find out what their situation was, to even coach them or encourage them on how to do things, because apparently he had never even thought of these things, and God gave me these ideas to give him, and when I relayed them to him, man, he took off with this, and there's no doubt in my mind that Joe is doing great. And before he left, God told me, he said, "Give this man your business card." So I got one of my business cards. I gave it to him. I said, "This is my company." He said, "Well, can you give me a job?" He said, because at the cookout the next door, he had a job, but one of the guys in the back told the guy he was homeless. So the manager told him he didn't need him then, which I think is crazy. But I still encouraged the guy, and I said, and he really wants to work and do well for himself. But I said, "Joe, that's not the job for you. God wants you to use your talent the same way he wants me to use mine." And he said, "You know what, you're right, and I'm going to use my talent." And I know he really wants a job, but I believe God's going to make a way for him. But I gave him my business card and told him to call me sometime and let me know how he's doing. And as he was leaving, I was watching him, and I said, "God, why did you just have me give my business card to a homeless man?" And one of the crazy ways that he put stuff in my spirit again, he let me know, the same man you showed kindness to today to give him a leg up, in the future will be the same man that I'll move in his life, and he'll be able to give you a leg up in life. People, I want you to understand something. You never know who you're talking to. You never know. All you see is this exterior that they're down on their luck, but you have no idea what God has put in these people. You have no idea that just a little bit of coaching, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of sharing your life with them and showing them you care will go way more than the monetary gift you can give them. And I watched that unfold. God made a way for this man to get in a room, to get art supplies, to get everything he needed, just because I took some time to share that with him and let God use me. I want to challenge each and every one of you today. Find somebody, when they come across your path, that you can tell they're down on their luck. Do something for them today. Please, share a little bit of your life. Let them know you care. Encourage them. If that's all you got to give that. If you don't have money, if you can't help them in any other way, I promise you that will go a long way. Share Jesus Christ with them. That's what I did. I shared what Jesus done in my life with him. And for me, that's the most gratifying thing. If I never am rewarded for this, God has done enough for me. And I just wanted to help him. And I'm sure he's going to be great. So if anybody is watching this video and you're in the Columbia, South Carolina area, and you're down around Forest Drive, and you see an older black gentleman standing out there, little short guy, kind of thin, and he's smiling, he's holding this sign, saying, I'm homeless, but God's given me a gift for art. Would you like to buy one of my drawings? Man, stop and help this guy out. That's Joe. He'll have my business card. Ask him, does he have it? If he shows it to you, this is the guy. Help this guy, man, because he's really trying to help himself. And also to find somebody that you can help today to live a better life through your life and what Jesus has done for you. Hey, this is Keith from In the Gap Motivational. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Please visit us on inthegapmotivational.com. And if you like this video, man, please share it, because there's a lot of people out there hurting that need help. And it's not having anything to do with addiction. It's just having to do with a run of bad luck. And a little bit of encouragement will go a long way. It did for me. I hope it does for you. Hey, stand in the gap for others when they can't for themselves. We'll see you next time.